Everyone said the Indiana Fever didn't stand a chance. ESPN analysts dismissed them, oddsmakers laughed, and even the two-time champion Las Vegas Aces expected an easy sweep. But on the very night Aliyah Wilson was crowned MVP, in front of a packed Aces home crowd, the Fever shocked the world by stealing Game 1. Missing 6 players, they flipped the entire script with heart, hustle and grit. This wasn't just an upset, it was a statement. And after the game, Caitlin Clark delivered a message to her teammates that's now got everyone talking. If you're fired up for the Fever, drop a fired When a team enters the playoffs missing 6 players, written off by analysts, and facing the reigning two-time champs, you get the Indiana Fever's ultimate test of belief. A night meant to celebrate someone else became their defining moment, a shocking reminder that heart From the start, this series was painted as a mismatch. ESPN analysts called it predictable, and sportsbooks made the odds so one-sided that betting on the Aces' margin of victory was easier than picking an Indiana win. Even the pre-game language reflected it. Headlines spoke of survival, not success. The narrative was set. Las Vegas was supposed to cruise to another finals appearance. For the Fever, just avoiding embarrassment was considered a win. No one expected a fight, let alone a shakeup. But Indiana had Then came the injury list. Caitlin Clark out. Sophie Cunningham gone. Sydney Colson, Chloe BBY, Ari McDonald, Demiris Dantas, all sidelined. 6 players missing. The Fever didn't look like a playoff team. They looked held together by tape. This wasn't just an underdog story anymore. People called them lucky to even be there, like their season. Picture the scene in Las Vegas before tip-off. Championship banners overhead, a crowd ready to celebrate, and Aliyah Wilson honored at center court with her MVP trophy. It wasn't just recognition, it was the expected script. Vegas was the powerhouse. Indiana, just the backdrop. The Fever weren't just underdogs. They were invisible, treated as an afterthought in their own semifinal debut. But they were about to Sports have a way of flipping the script when expectations are at their highest and most rigid. Think of the great underdog stories. Teams dismissed before tip-off, lineups doubted, matchups labeled mismatches. That's exactly where the Indiana Fever found themselves. But as the game began, you could feel something shift. This wasn't just Game 1 of a playoff series. It was Indiana's chance to claim a seat at the table and demand respect. By the final buzzer, everything had changed. The spotlight meant for Aliyah Wilson's MVP celebration dimmed. The fever had stolen the moment, and the game, with a commanding 89-73 win. It was their first semifinal victory in nearly a decade, and the basketball world was left stunned. But the biggest shock of the night didn't come from the team alone. It came from one player who stepped into the chaos and while all eyes were on Aliyah Wilson raising her MVP trophy, no one saw Kelsey Mitchell coming, and she flipped the entire script. This was supposed to be Wilson's night, the defending champs cruising at home, the outcome already assumed before tip-off. But Mitchell had other plans. She refused to let Indiana be a mere footnote, turning the semifinal opener into her personal showcase. By the end of the night, the spotlight had shifted, and so had the conversation across. Kelsey Mitchell has long been respected as one of the WNBA's top scorers, but she's often overlooked, mentioned after the league's bigger names. Heading into this series, the spotlight was on Aliyah Wilson's dominance, whether Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray would overpower the Fever, and if Indiana could even compete. Almost no one was talking about Mitchell as a difference maker. But true to form, she didn't need hype, just a ball in her hands. As she's done throughout her career, Mitchell responded not with words, but with a performance that spoke louder than any expectations placed. Mitchell didn't just score, she scored in every way imaginable. Mid-range pull-ups with defenders draped on her, deep threes when the aces gave her even a sliver of space, and flawless execution at the line, going a perfect 6 for 6. She attacked from all angles, inside, outside, and everywhere in between, looking absolutely untouchable. By the end of the night, she had poured in 34 points on 12 of 23 shooting, including 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. It wasn't just efficient, it was relentless, a masterclass in scoring that left the aces scrambling and the league taking notice. That 34-point explosion wasn't just a big night, it was historic. No Fever player had scored over 30 in a playoff game since 2012, and no one in WNBA history had ever put up that many in their first-ever semifinal appearance. Kelsey Mitchell didn't just join names like Lauren Jackson and Cynthia Cooper, she passed them. Think about that. On the biggest stage of her career against the defending champions, with a spotlight on Aliyah Wilson's MVP celebration, Mitchell didn't flinch. She made history, shattered records, and etched her name into WNBA